Hey go-getters, welcome to my channel, the place where I help ambitious, successful women learn how to manage their minds and emotions without resorting to sugar and carbs. In today's episode, you're gonna learn how to actually stop overeating sugar and carbs, because before you could even work on your mindset and emotional wellness, you actually have to learn how to stop eating sugar and carbs. And it sounds so much easier said than done, right? It's just like, yeah, just stop eating sugar and carbs. Like, what's the big deal? But I'm gonna leave you today with 3 simple tips that will actually help you stop overeating the sugar and carbs so you could finally get started on working on your emotional and mental well-being. First thing I want to say is that if you are a go-getter woman who is finding herself eating sugar and carbs as a form of maybe procrastinating from work, or not wanting to do the thing, or maybe wanting to eat as a pick-me-up in the middle of the day, I want to reassure you that nothing is wrong with you. In fact, that just means that you're human, that you have a human brain. And the reason why you're doing that is because nobody ever really taught us, like, how do we deal with uncomfortable emotions? How do we actually manage stress without food? Nobody ever taught this to us. So the first thing you need to know about not overeating sugar and carbs is that you are actually acting on your impulses to eat the sugar and carbs, and it has nothing to do with the food itself. What that means is you have to be really good at knowing the difference between if you actually want food or you need food. This is my way of telling my clients, like, to tell the difference, like, is your desire for the food in the moment actually a true physical hunger, or is it just you wanting to eat something? So really knowing the difference. Does your body need food, or does your body want food? And the way that you tell if you actually need food or want food is to ask yourself, where did the cravings start to begin with? Did the cravings start in your stomach? Like, do you feel a rumbling in your stomach, and then you got a signal going to your brain saying, hey, I feel hungry? Or did the craving start in your brain and then it went down to your stomach after you're maybe scrolling on IG and then you saw like a picture of a cookie and you're like, ooh, I want that. Like, where did the craving start in your brain? You want to ask yourself that. A great example that a lot of my clients tell me is, I had a client I worked with a few months ago, and she told me that she would eat a full dinner, and even though she ate an entire dinner, within minutes of eating dinner, she'd immediately want chocolate. And you would be like, well, she can't be hungry because she just ate food. So she was having a craving for the chocolate. That's because she didn't need the chocolate, she wanted it. So getting very clear for you to know, is it the food you actually physically need for fuel, or is it just something that you want to eat in the moment? And if you're noticing that, like, to help you tell the difference is in the moment, just ask yourself this simple question right before you eat. You want to say to yourself, am I actually really truly needing fuel for my body right now? Like, am I like tired? Am I feeling weak? Like, am I feeling something in my stomach? Like, am I actually physically in need of fuel right now? Or am I just wanting to eat because I want to eat something? The second thing I want to point out is that you're probably most likely not planning your food ahead of time. You see, we have a primitive and primal part of our brain that is wired to be in scarcity mode. This is the part of our brain that has helped us survive through all the freaking dark, the caveman times where we were fighting saber-toothed tigers and whatnot, and food was scarce. And since food was scarce, we're thinking food is not going to be available. So when it is available, we want to eat right away. Well, fast forward to millions of years later in 2022, and we have food everywhere. Like, you could get food at the push of a button. And so when food's abundant, we still have this primal part of our brain that wants to eat in scarcity, that thinks food isn't available. And this part of our brain hasn't quite caught up yet to us, and so we think that, like, we want to eat all the things when it's in front of us. So you have to be the one in control of your brain. If you're not the one in charge of this primal instinct to eat, your brain is going to be the one in charge of you, and you're just going to want to eat all the things. So a way to do that is by planning what you're going to eat ahead of time and using the more evolved part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, so that you're making decisions from a place that's in alignment with your goals rather than making food decisions in the spur of the moment where you feel like you're in scarcity and food isn't available. Now, the reason why you want to plan your food ahead of time is, I'll give you this example with money. If you have $1,000 to spend, and if you're not having a budget with this money, it could be really easy for you to spend the money and not know where it goes, right? Like you could spend, one day you could go to a coffee shop, then from the coffee shop you could watch a movie, then from the movie you could just go to Target, and Lord knows we all love to spend all our money at Target, okay? So if you're not planning the money you'll spend, it will all just go away. Like you don't know what's going on with your eating, with your money habits. But if you plan your food ahead of time, like especially I tell my clients to plan your food at least a day in advance, when you know exactly what you're gonna eat, on the day of, you're going to be much more conscious of it. You're gonna be much more aware of what you eat. So you're not just picking at your pantry every hour. You're not just peeking in the refrigerator every 15 minutes. You're actually conscious of what you're eating so you don't eat all the things. So my action tip for you is to start planning what you're gonna eat starting today. Like when you're watching this video, I want you to practice planning your next meal, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Practice planning what you're gonna eat in your next meal and then commit to eating that thing. And the better you get at planning ahead and then following through on your plan, the better you'll be at controlling that primitive brain you have that wants to eat all the things. Tip number 3 is you want to be aware of your triggers to eat. In the moment, you might not be really clear what makes you want to overeat. A lot of us eat in reaction to emotions, to situations, to when certain people are around, to the time of day, to eating a meal like dinner. Like you have to know what your unique triggers are, because in those situations, when you know ahead of time what's triggering you to eat, you're gonna be more prepared on how to handle the craving when it comes up in that moment. For example, let's say you were working at an office and you brought your chicken salad from home, like you prepared it, brought it to the office to eat. But then somebody throws a surprise party at your office for a coworker or for your boss. And at the work party, they have cake, they have pizza, they have soda, and you know, you might feel tempted to just want to eat the pizza rather than the salad that you brought from home. So in that moment, if you know that seeing people eat in front of you, especially at work, if there's like a party going on at work, you know that if you know that triggers you to want to eat, you'll know ahead of time, like, okay, the next time there's going to be a work party, even if it's unannounced, I'm going to, you know, excuse myself from the party. Maybe I'll eat in a different place. Maybe I'll eat before I spend time with people at the party so I'm not hungry when I go there. That way you can make a game plan on how to handle that craving in that moment so you're not feeling out of control and you're not reactive. So my tip for you in this situation would be to just be aware of your triggers. Like, just like we said in tip number 2, like when you make a plan for yourself, you're going to be more aware of your triggers to eat, because when you plan, you're going to be more conscious and notice like your triggers. You're gonna be more conscious of your eating. So plan what you're gonna eat and then just go through your day. Just go to work, hang out with somebody, and just notice when you're wanting to eat, when your brain is like, ooh, that looks good, ooh, I want to get this. Or if your friend says, hey, let's get boba, and you're like, I want to eat boba too. Like, notice all those things and write down a list of your triggers so that you can make a game plan for them next time you're in that similar situation. All right, go-getters, if what I was saying was resonating with you and you are realizing like, wow, I have more impulses to eat than I realized, and I really want to learn how to stop overeating sugar and carbs, and you want to learn more about impulses and your specific impulsive eating type, I have a free quiz where you could learn which of the 4 impulsive eating types you are, so you could start learning how to overcome that. So if you want to get the quiz and the free guide that goes with it, so you could start getting in charge of your sugar cravings and your carb cravings, you could go ahead and click the link in the caption below. All right, everyone, if you love this episode and you want to keep these tips coming, you want to learn more about how to master your mind and emotions without resorting to sugar and carbs, go ahead and subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below and also clicking the little bell so you can get notifications of when my next video comes up. All right, go-getters, I can't wait to see you stop overeating sugar and carbs, and I'll see you in the next video.